With these storms we're tracking, safety is going to be that #1 concern. And as I mentioned, flash flooding, those severe thunderstorms, and blowing dust are all on the table. So when you're driving and it starts to flood, remember to turn around, don't drown. Also, if you're driving and that blowing dust starts to pick up, pull aside, stay alive. And finally, when thunder roars, stay indoors. We all know the weather can change by the minute, so please be sure to stick with your News 4 Tucson Storm Tracker 4 weather team, and we'll have the latest. Reporting live in Midtown, Isabella Fredrickson, News 4 Tucson. Well, Matt, I can tell you that at least here in Tucson, things are looking pretty wet. And a lot of people do like to joke that the Tucson International Airport never sees any rain, but it is actually one of our wettest spots so far this monsoon. This 4.5-mile bicycle boulevard will be connecting 5 different schools, 4 parks, and several neighborhoods between Oracle and Columbus, providing a safer route for walkers, bikers, strollers, and rollers. As the temperatures begin to rise, so does the risk of wildfires. Nearly anything can start a wildfire, including the brush right behind me. Now, I spoke to a fire expert, and I'll have what you need to know regarding wildfires in southern Arizona. As we continue into the second half of our monsoon 2024, be sure to stick around because it could be another wet, very wet monsoon, potentially hitting the records once again. Your Storm Tracker 4 weather team will be keeping a close eye on it, so be sure to stick around. The biannual GABA Bike Swap is back. Over 5,000 attendees and 40 vendors gathered at Armory Park Sunday morning to enjoy the sun and all of the wheels. Good afternoon, I'm Isabella Fredrickson with the latest from News 4 Tucson. But the good news is there is still almost 2 months left of our 2024 monsoon, so there is still time for those drier places to catch up with some more rainfall. That is what we like to call our monsoon report card. I'll send it back to you. There will be plenty more basketball to cheer for as the Wildcats head to the Sweet 16. They'll be playing in Los Angeles on Thursday for the second weekend of March Madness. It's been a very wet start so far to our monsoon 2024, and with exactly 50 days left of the monsoon, there is still plenty of time to continue to add to those rain totals.
Oh, let me tell you, Isabella, we're not done with this yet. We could see more tomorrow. Isn't that right?
That's right, Matt. And just as you mentioned, it was a pretty active day. And earlier today, we did see a round of some storms that packed a punch. But for how things are looking right now here in Midtown Tucson, as you can see looking at the sky, things have clouded over. Remember, turn around, don't drown when thunder roars, go indoors. And of course, when the blowing dust picks up and you're driving, pull aside, stay alive. But as we all know, the weather changes by the minute. So please be sure to stick with your News 4 Tucson Storm Tracker 4 weather team, and we'll have everything you need to know. Sean, Monica, well, I can tell you that at least here in Midtown Tucson, things have since calmed down after an afternoon of some storms. But just as Matt mentioned, those storms we saw earlier today packed a punch. Some places such as Vail saw nearly an inch of rain. Hi, everyone. I'm Isabella Fredrickson, and on today's Anchored in Tradition, I'll be showing you how to make my favorite ube crinkle cookies. This is going to be a Filipino twist on your classic crinkle cookie. These cookies are bright purple and covered in powdered sugar. They're fudgy and so soft in the middle. Now you may be wondering, what is ube and why are these cookies purple? Well, ube is a sweet purple yam that is native to the Philippines, and it is very common to use in Filipino desserts because of its sweet taste. So ultimately, it's going to make these classic crinkle cookies even better. Now this recipe calls for just 9 simple ingredients. We have sugar, vanilla extract, flour, confectioner's sugar, butter, egg, salt, baking powder, ube halaya, which is ube jam, and ube extract. It's these 2 ingredients that are really going to give our ube crinkle cookies their color and flavor. You can get this at any local Asian grocery store. I got these both at Lily's. First things first is you're going to want to set your oven to 350 degrees. In a medium bowl, you're going to want to add your flour, baking powder, and salt. In a large bowl, you add your sugar and your room temperature butter. Beat this on medium-high until fluffy. All right, add the egg and mix. And here's the fun part. We are now going to add our ube. Just look at that color. I just added my half a cup of ube halaya and my ube extract in addition to the vanilla extract, just purple. And now the real magic happens once we start mixing. So now you're going to want to mix. Look at that purple color. Oh, it is so beautiful. Now you want to take your dry ingredients and slowly mix it into the wet mixture. A good rule of thumb is beat until it is completely purple. Now you're going to want to take your cup of powdered sugar and put it in a shallow bowl like so. To make the cookie dough balls, you're going to take a tablespoon and just scoop that up. You want about 3 tablespoons worth of cookie dough, and then just roll them into a ball, or as best as you can. And from there, you're going to just drop it in the powdered sugar. From there, you are just going to want to coat them. Bake for 12 to 15 minutes until the edges are set, but the middles are still soft. These cookies are one of my favorite things to make during the holidays with my family, and they are just so good. Thanks for watching and happy holidays. I'm Isabella Fredrickson with News 4 Tucson. Hi, I'm here at Corbett's, where 5 of the 26 pickleball courts reside in the city of Tucson. However, due to the popularity and growing demand in the Old Pueblo, we can expect to see more courts popping up. Meet Matthew Miller, a pickleball expert and self-proclaimed pickleball legend, who is spending his Tuesday on the court getting some reps in. When I asked him if pickleball was his favorite activity, he tells me,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Number one.
And when asked how often he finds himself on a pickleball court, he says,
How many days are in the week? 7? I would say probably 5. Yeah.
Clearly, Matthew enjoys the sport and recommends everyone to try it.
You should absolutely try it. It's a fun sport. Get you a nice little workout. Anybody can play. My grandma can play. Your grandma can play. They could play together. It could be a really good time.
I spoke to Kyle Morris, the general manager here at Corbett's. He tells me that business has been booming and they have to book out at least 2 weeks in advance.
It's the fastest growing sport for a reason. It is so much fun. The best part about pickleball is anybody can play it. And you see, little kids swinging the paddles around, and like really experienced players too.
News 4 Tucson recently spoke to the director of Parks and Rec for the city of Tucson. She explains how the city has been receiving great input from the recent courts they've put in.
I would definitely say the demand for pickleball has increased, and the fact that every time that we've opened new courts, the feedback is almost immediate usage.
They have plans to build new pickleball courts at Palo Verde to meet the community's demand. From the city's plans for more courts in the future to the growing number of participants, some may say the sport is the future.
There was baseball, then there was football, then along came basketball. 10 years from now, it'll only be pickleball.
In addition to the 5 courts here at Corbett's, you can also play at the pickleball courts at Udall Park and Himmel Park, among other locations around town. Shello, officials tell me that they've taken in more than they could handle, and they now need to find these tortoises new homes. I spoke to one Tucson woman who stepped up and now awaits the arrival of her new, slow, 4-legged friend with a shell. Meet Cheryl Galen. She recently applied to adopt a desert tortoise. She first found out about the call to adoption when she was watching a pretty cool local TV station.
On your TV station, yes. When I saw on TV that they were wanting people to adopt desert tortoises, that's what I decided to do.
Cheryl's love for the slow and steady isn't new. She's been a lover of those with shells her whole life.
When I lived in New Hampshire for 20-some years, I had box turtles.
One of the requirements was to create a burrow and submit a photo. Cheryl built the burrow all by herself. She gave me a tour of the burrow and told me she had a shell of a time creating it.
Arizona Fish and Game, they're really wonderful at sending you brochures at YouTubes.
So why is there a statewide call to adopt Sonoran desert tortoises? I spoke to Locana De Souza, the urban wildlife specialist at Arizona Game and Fish Tucson. She explains that they are at a crisis because of people breeding these tortoises, which is illegal.
We're essentially at a crisis point. We have so many desert tortoises, captive desert tortoises, that we are trying to find homes for.
Cheryl is celebrating because she was recently approved. While she hasn't received her tortoise yet, because most tortoises are still hibernating, she is already the perfect tortoise mom.
Well, I decided to name my turtle Touche Turtle. His enclosure has gotten to be kind of extravagant, so we have named it a bungalow. So I've ordered a sign and it's going to say Touche Turtle's Bungalow.
As Cheryl excitedly anticipates the arrival of her tortoise, she encourages others to apply to adopt a tortoise too.
Well, I wish other people would do it. There are turtles that need places to be.
One thing is for certain, Touche Turtle will have a shell of a time. Now, if you're interested in adopting, don't worry, you won't have to shell out any money. The application to adopt is free. Taking a look right now outside, it's 5:30 p.m. and it is 101 degrees here outside in Metro Tucson. Just a slight south-southwesterly breeze outside, and that is going to remain the same throughout the next couple of days. We're going to continue to see those hundreds, and we're going to continue to see some afternoon breezes for some slight relief from the heat, which will be nice. And at the same time, we do have this low pressure system. It is a dry low pressure system, but as it also makes its way into our region, these two coming together are just going to amplify those hot temperatures, making it very hot, but it's also going to be bringing those breezy conditions throughout the afternoons and early evenings, and again, that potential for some thunderstorm action next Friday and next Saturday.